James chapter 3, verses 13 through 18 says, "Who is wise and understanding among you? Let him show by good conduct that his works are done in the meekness of wisdom. But if you have bitter envy and self-seeking in your hearts, do not boast and lie against the truth. This wisdom does not descend from above, but is earthly, sensual, and demonic. For where envy and self-seeking exist, confusion and every evil thing are there. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, willing to yield, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. The fruit of righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace." I just realized verse 17 pretty much describes the entire book. The sections of this book that was written is talking about how to be wise, and I love what he's saying here in verse 18. The fruit of righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace. So what is from what I understand about the fruit of righteousness is we harvest righteousness when we live a life worthy of the gospel. We are living in the ways that he's talking about in verses 13 through 17. And we take that and we use that to sow in peace. We can sow other crops. And the emphasis here, I think, is that we have peace and that we make peace. And it's really important for us to understand that, because in this section before, in verses 13 through 17, he's talking about peace versus confusion. And anywhere you have confusion, you don't have peace. And it's important for us to understand that, because God wants us to have peace within, peace with among other people, and peace with God, of course. And that's exactly what we should be striving for. And the way we do that is to live wisely among the people around us, so that what is produced, we're sowing the right seed, and what is produced then is going to be peace if we're living in peace. And this is similar to what Jesus said in Matthew chapter 5. I want you to notice here in this list of the Beatitudes, in verse 9, he said, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons of God." And I want you to look at just the title, just what he says in the previous verses, and actually verse 10 as well, about what that means, or what people are going to be called, and see how there may be a difference. In verse 3, he says, "Theirs is the kingdom of heaven." In verse 4, "They shall be comforted." In verse 5, "They shall inherit the earth." In verse 6, "They shall be filled." In verse 7, "They shall obtain mercy." In verse 8, "They shall see God." Even verse 10, "Theirs is the kingdom of heaven." It's the only place in the Beatitudes in verse 9 where Jesus said, "They shall be called something, and they will be called the children of God." That is a remarkable statement, that anyone would be called a child of God. And it's only those people who are peacemakers. It's only those people who understand what it means to create peace. And it's not just about living peace within, it's about creating peace. I love how he says this. He doesn't say blessed. He says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, not the peacekeepers." It's not our job to make sure that everyone toes the line. It's not our job to make sure there's two extremes that we can kind of go to. Sometimes we make peace, or we try to enforce peace. And we've seen how the Muslims have that idea of, they want peace in the world, but their idea of peace is when the whole world has succumbed to their religion, then they'll have peace. And of course, I think the Jewish people even saw that too that way. And then there's the other extreme, is I'm going to placate and make peace by just agreeing to go along with everything that anyone does. It's going to step all over me, and it's okay because I'm making peace. And the gospel teaches us somewhere in the middle, that we stand up for truth and righteousness and goodness, but we do it with love and joy and peace and patience and kindness and goodness and faithfulness, and gentleness and self-control. These are how we live, and the very process of living the way God wants us to live is what creates peace with the people around us. You can kind of judge yourself in a sense then of what your relationship is with God based upon how you interact with other people. John said, if you say you love God, but you hate your neighbor, you're a liar. So how we treat one another is an indication how we can get along with one another. And I realize that it's a two-way street. It's not always an accurate thing to find out if you have peace with other people. But if generally speaking, you are a peacemaker and stand up for what is right and true and good, you can have great confidence in your relationship with God. And tonight, if you're not in that confidence, there's no reason why you shouldn't be ready. When Jesus comes back, we need to be ready for him. If there's anything that we can do for you tonight, won't you let us know? Won't you please come as we stand and sing?